Here, let me watch this for 5 minutes.
We're here at GW University in Washington, D.C., and there's some encampments that are protesting against Israel. They were taught that the...
I had a politics professor in college claim it was impossible to test for ideology. That might be true. Remember what I was saying with Rose Wrist, and I think with Devin, in that, like, people will say a lot of the same things, but at the end of the day, the application of those things is far, 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 far different. So like the alignment doesn't even really matter ideologically on some things. A really good example of this is it's a joke video, but it illustrates the point, right? Oh fuck, what am I looking for? It's like this video. It's a joke, but it's like it works to illustrate the idea that, like, you can have these positions where they're kind of like the same, but like would you call it the normative positions? I think you'd say normative. I don't even know if like meta-normative applied would be here, but like you're kind of like your generator seems to be the same, but for some reason the output is vastly different, right?
Brad first met, I didn't think we'd get along, but turns out we kind of agree on everything. Your racial identity is the most important thing. Everything should be looked at through the lens of race.
Jinx, you owe me a Coke. We both have a lot of opinions about people of color, even though we barely know any.
I say colored people, but as long as we're classifying them, we both think minorities are a united group who think the same and act the same.
And vote the same. You don't want to lose your black card. Sorry, I don't know. I just think we should
roll back discrimination laws so we can hire based on race again. Jinx, now you owe me a Coke. Hey, tell them what you told me yesterday.
White actors should only do voices for white cartoon characters.
I've been saying that for years. Stick to your own.
Us white people, we have so much privilege.
I agree. It is a privilege to be white. Ask him about interracial dating.
All I said is that black men who date white women have internalized racism, and white men that date ethnic women are fetishizing them.
Guys against interracial dating now. Like, am I being pranked? Did Boomer put you up to this?
Ugh, you know that taco place is white-owned?
White people should be making white foods, like Kraft macaroni and cheese, no seasoning, not even salt. It's like he's a mind reader. I mean, I've been pushing for segregation forever, and my man does what?
I created an improv comedy show exclusively for ethnic people.
Guy segregates comedy on my birthday.
White people need to stop wearing dreadlocks, and they need to stop appropriating black people's music.
Shaved heads and country music, the way God intended.
You know all white people are racist.
I'm listening.
Even if you have a black wife or a black friend group, you're still really racist.
You know, we just kicked a guy out of the organization for having a black girlfriend, but if you can promise me he's still really racist, we'll consider letting him back in. Black people should only shop at black businesses.
I guess the only thing we really disagree about is I think white people are the root of all evil.
But what did I tell you, though? If we can narrow that down to a certain group of tiny-hatted white people, I think we can come to an understanding.
Oh shit, we got there. Oh, so the last like 20 seconds of this video isn't relevant anymore because now we have gotten there.
Though, if we can narrow that down to a certain group of tiny-hatted white people, I think we can come to an understanding.
Technically, I don't consider Jewish people white.
Neither do I.
But yeah, you can have people that are essentially saying a lot of the same things, but then when you look at the application, yeah. But the issue is that, remember, I think the issue is that most people you inherit your beliefs from a certain bubble of people that you're in, and then you kind of backwards reason your way to the conclusion because the aesthetic of truth and rationality is attractive. So you want to do that backwards rationalization, pretend you've done it, but it doesn't really in practice end up working, right? Yeah. Well, I mean, it works well enough. Was cutting Nick Fuentes off worth it, given that he's back in the fold now? Yeah, apparently it was super worth it. I almost didn't stream that night, and people were like begging me to go on, and I was like, but apparently it was worth it. I made like 20 people look like dipshits, which was far easier than I thought it would be. Okay. Boom, boom. Oh, and Nick got so mad, honestly. He got so mad. Was there any post-debate communication with George Santos? No, but I also don't know how much I would even want to... I'm not sure. His fans constantly spam clips with the title Destiny Obsessed with Nick, but it's literally a compilation of Nick talking about... One thing I thought was really funny, I almost retweeted this, but I think it was from a Groiper. There was a Groiper that posted a clip to show that, like, Nick owned me, and I actually watched the full clip, and I was like, they included way too much of this, because I felt like I sounded really good in this clip. And I think most people in the... I think most people in the comments were agreeing. I was really surprised that they kept as much in as they did. I don't even have any more, but yeah. Why have you been late every day and leaving early? I've been like moving stuff around the studio downstairs. I've been like coordinating like a couple of really big trips in the background. I've been like reading and going through my notes and trying to incorporate all of the Shlomo Ben Ami notes into individual notes for my Israel-Palestine stuff. And then I've been... Oh, there were a couple other things. I cleaned through all of my apartment yesterday. I threw out a ton more stuff than that. I've just been working on like a ton of shit in the background. Fucking your moms, yeah. We'd be doing regular spaces going forward. Yeah, we'll see how my chat with X goes, and then we'll go from there. What was the 4-minute couch stream on Kick? When? Oh, when I was testing stuff in the studio a few days ago? I was just like testing cameras and shit. I also think Nick is getting rusty. I feel like he hasn't been opposed in a long time. I feel like he admitted way too much to me in that conversation. He should have never admitted to being anti-American. That was a wild admission. I also don't think he should... I think if I was like doing like political strategy or communication strategy for Nick, I don't think I would say anything about like Muslims or Jews not being able to hold office. I think I would just say something along the lines of like, these people should have to take an additional pledge to the United States or something. I think I would phrase that a lot differently. That's a wild admission. I also wouldn't admit to wanting to form a theocratic government either, but maybe I'm just way too out of step with where he wants to be. Like, he's angling himself to be so much more extreme than he needs to be. Why would you do Christian theocracy? Why not just like Christian country? Because you can make an argument that there's like a Christian character to the United States. I would argue heavily against that being enshrined in law anywhere. But him wanting to do the full theocratic route is just so much more extreme than it needs to be. But I don't know. He's just not... Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's been opposed for a long time, so. That stream. What font theme do you use for Obsidian, or do you go by the default? I don't even know. I've got a few plugins at this point. Do people use tags for Obsidian? That's one thing that I wasn't sure about, to start tagging articles and stuff. Or not tags, I'm sorry, but properties. Basically, the way that it works now is... I think what I'm going to do is, because I like to organize by folders, and apparently that's like a way of the past. I think that's like an old millennial thing. People don't use folders anymore. They use other tagging systems. But I think like the goal is, so for like, ideally if I'm studying like a history of a thing, everything should essentially show up on the timeline, with really important events being closer to the timeline, right? So like wars are always going to be on the timeline, major conflicts, major like resolutions and stuff. And then I've made sure that like every article links appropriately to everything else, so that like you should be able to, because people like these stupid fucking, these dumb graph things. I don't know why people like this shit. So you can see like, oh, like what are your major events that are incorporating most things? I'm guessing like most of these things are going to probably be wars. Oh yeah, so like this is the 48 war. This is the Israel, obviously. Second Intifada incorporates a lot of people. 6-Day War, obviously, yeah. I don't know if there's much value in this fucking view. I just know people like to meme about it. But I don't do any properties tagging. I just end up dumping everything in folders. So like my events folder will just have every single event here, which I guess they should make it easier to pull it out for, oh, can you just do that? Look at how cute that is. To add it to other timelines if it's necessary as well, but yeah. The idea is that you can add multiple tags property to a note, so you can group them easily. If you're not consistent with it, then stick to folder. Yeah, fuck that. You can color the dots by folder. Color the dots by folder. Oh, interesting. Open graph view. Groups. Oh. Path. Events. Oh, that's super cute. Oh. Huh. Interesting. Oh, maybe you actually could do interesting stuff with this then. Huh. Wait, is the graph view a consistent thing, or can you make different graphs? Okay, so like this is a graph. Would I have to save this graph? Or if we go back, okay, so let's say I go back here and let's say that I open a new graph. Open graph view. Oh no, it does save. Oh, okay, so it's just like one graph you have. Okay. Interesting. Okay. I don't know. I might fuck with that in the future. What is the solution to anti-liberal people? It feels extreme violence is the only answer. I think you have to keep championing liberalism. I've been trying to do that more in recent conversations. I did that a lot with the Soliman, is that his name? The Muslim guy did. Like, I'm trying to build up the U.S. a lot more. Like, talking about, like, hey, this is, like, cool shit. Why are gropers massive pussies? I debate a few and they run away after like 3 messages. I think the issue is when you're talking about like totalitarian stuff, authoritarian stuff, illiberal stuff, it's very fragile. It doesn't resist outside pressure much, so you have to engage in a whole bunch of like crazy tactics to keep it working. That's why Nazis want to kill all people, all the intelligentsia, everybody that's opposed to them. That's why leftists want to lock everybody in gulags, all the intelligentsia and the people of the different ideologies or whatever. I think liberalism is strong enough that it can host a lot of its own criticism and then incorporate that criticism into itself moving forward. I think that's a pretty unique thing. I think it's one of the reasons why liberalism is like the dominating world culture at the moment, is because it's so the opposite of fragile. It's so tenacious and can host a lot of its own criticism and then incorporate that moving forward. It's not just, it's like adaptable and tenacious, I think. There's like a better word that combines both of those. Robust is a good one too, yeah.
The only way to be pro the Palestinian people is by being against Israel. So let's have some conversations, discussions, and see what they truly have to say. Yalla, let's go. Wearing a talit and a magen David.
That's a fake of
You think it's worth it to show for a liberal version of patriotism? Yeah, I've been trying to do that as well. Yeah, I am. I've been doing it more recently. JJ inspired me on that. I'm trying to take that, yeah.
Brother,
This is a talit.
what is that?
Just because you don't know about Jewish culture doesn't mean you have to say it's your culture. I'm not attacking you. You shouldn't be attacking me.
Wait, what?
You
Hold
have
on,
to
I'm
say,
sorry.
Yalla, let's go. Wearing a talit and a magen David.
That's a fake of brother.
This is a talit.
What is that?
Just because you don't know about Jewish culture doesn't mean you have to say it's your culture.
Guys, be very, very, very careful, especially if you're an American. And by the way, if you live in America, especially if you were born in America, you are an American, okay? Be aware of that. You are an American, and everybody outside of America views you as an American, okay? If you live in the United States and you have Italian ancestors, you're not Italian, you're Italian American, okay? You're not Irish, you're Irish American. Be aware of that. Always be careful when you see people that wear shit before you accuse them of like stealing culture. You might have no fucking idea what the fuck you're talking about. Believe it or not, more than just like black people have worn dreadlocks. More than just a certain culture of people have had like scarves and shit around their neck. Always be careful with shit like that, okay? Otherwise you're gonna say you might get caught up saying some real retarded shit. Destiny, what would you rather live under, fascism or communism? You have to choose one. Well, am I part of the ruling class in either one? I don't know. Communism seems more stable than fascism. I don't know if fascism demands as much invasion as communism does. I mean, the Soviet Union engaged in a whole bunch of fucking external activity. So I'm not even sure. I don't even know if that's true, actually. I don't know if we've seen enough of either of those ideologies to even say. They both kind of feel like failed ideologies to me. Because like, what if the Nazis were communist and the Soviet Union were Nazis, but we still supported the Soviet Union, then the Nazis probably would have won, right? So yeah, I don't even know.
I'm not attacking you. You shouldn't be attacking me. You willing to have a conversation?
Two people like you.
What is people like me? Jews that are strong, that are proud of who they are?
I'm a Jew. I have
Did you ever figure out the distance between morals and ethics? Morals are what the individual thinks is good, and ethics is what is good for the group. It might be moral to hunt down your wife's killer. kill them, but ethically we don't want vigilantism. If you want to say that, that's fine, but you need to define your terms at the beginning. The idea that there's a strictly different thing between morals and ethics, at least as far as I'm aware in philosophy, that's just not true. Like when you talk about like, I don't even know if, I could be wrong, but I don't even know if in philosophy, I don't even know if you talk about morals. I think you generally talk about ethics, right? When you're studying morality or ethics, you're talking about like meta-ethics, normative ethics, applied ethics. When you talk about like moral anti-realism, moral absolutism, moral relativism, like you're typically talking about you're in the field of ethics. I don't even think in philosophy. I mean, we can check. Stanford, Plato, ethics versus morals. I don't know if there's like a distinction ever made here. The definition of morality. The topic of the century is not at least directly moral theory, rather than the definition of morality. Moral theories are larger, complex things. Which of these two senses of morality, moral philosophers? Ethical. I'm pretty sure they're just used interchangeably. Oh, like here he says ethical relativist, not even moral relativist. Yeah, I don't think there's if you want to define one as meaning one thing and one as meaning another thing, you can do that. But like, I just don't think it's like people try to say like morals and ethics are like strategy and tactics, where strategy is like a macro and tactics are like a small. But like, I don't think with moral ethics, I think it's more. Yeah, if you want to define it as one way, whatever. But
Yeah? Are you for the right for Jews to be able to live in the land of Israel?
Absolutely not.
I'm not talking about the way the state is structured. I'm saying the right for Jews to be able to live in the land. The first thing you said is absolutely not. So how are you going to claim that you're a strong Jew, part of who you are?
Because Judaism is a religion. We did not spawn from Israel. My genetic ancestry comes from Poland and Russia. It does not come from...
Actually, if you check your DNA, it's Ashkenazi DNA is Jewish, Middle Eastern DNA found in Europe. Right? And you're saying
that's not what 23andMe said.
that if you look into the description, European Jewish DNA means Middle Eastern DNA that's found in Europe, which is why...
okay, let's slow this down because this is pretty dense. The ancestors of Ashkenazi Jewish people migrated from Western Asia into Southern Europe around 2,000 years. If you want to fight with a Jew, don't ever use the DNA argument, because Jews were almost certainly in the Levant before Palestinians or Arabs were. Don't ever use that argument. What all does the Levant encompass? Let me see if I can get an exact territory. How far does it stretch up into like Syria and shit? Or does it just include modern all these countries? Okay, so when we talk about the Levant, which is what I just said, we've got Israel, Palestine, Jordan, Lebanon. No, wait. These aren't the countries, are they? No, wait, they are. Yeah, these are the... Are these the modern borders? Wait, what the fuck is this thing in the northwest? What is this? Look at the legend. I'm seeing him right in the camera right now. Hatay? The fuck is this? It's a part of Turkey? Hatay province is the southernmost province and metropolitan municipality of Turkey. Province borders Syria, it's a Turkish province. Is it part of like a separate like autonomous region, or is this just like marking off this part as part of the Levant and this is like a part of Turkey? I think it's just okay, I think it's not. Wait, it's annexed from Syria by Turkey. Okay. I don't know if the Levant would have included all of the modern Syrian borders. Let's check. Is an approximate historical geographical term referring to a large area in the eastern Mediterranean region of West Asia and core territory of the political term Middle East. And there's a narrower sense which is in use today in archaeology and it's equivalent to Cyprus. And a stretch of land bordering the Mediterranean Sea in Western Asia. The historical region of Syria, Greater Syria, which includes present-day Israel, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, the Palestinian territories, and most of Turkey. Southwest of the Middle Euphrates. I wonder what the talk page says here, if people have to edit in Palestinian territories. I'm so curious. I need to learn how to navigate these talk pages better. Skip the political wrangling, please. Wikipedia is an online neutral encyclopedia, not a political forum. Judea and Samaria are the names of two provinces of the Roman Empire. They have absolutely nothing to do with the ancient or modern states of Israel or the Palestinian territories. Palestine is the English for Palestina, which is the Roman Latin translation of Philistia, which is modernly called the Gaza Strip. The Philistines, or if you will, original Palestinians, are believed to have been an Hellenic people, distantly or not so distantly related to the ancestors of modern Greeks. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. I changed Judea and Samaria to the occupied Palestinian territories a few days ago because that is the official internationally recognized name assigned to this area. The term Judea and Samaria is a term used by Zionists in the Jewish Israeli community as a way to deny the very existence of Palestine and to reassert their claim to all Palestinian territories. Judea and Samaria do not exist. All of the other country names used in this particular subsection of the article refer to current nation states. Therefore, the inclusion/use of Judea and Samaria is not only historically inaccurate, but reflects a bias which is rather distasteful. I would actually agree with that. It would be strange to say the present day Israel, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, and Judea, Samaria. I would have to see how the sentence was structured before, though, because why would you include the historical names here with modern nations? That's true. I would have to see what the sentence looked like before, though. But I saw the recent edits. The comments were also from 2007, sure. But I mean, it's not like people just got strong feelings about this before. Or I'm sorry, like on October 7th. I saw recent edits going back and forth between Palestine, state of Palestine, as well as Palestinian territories. I would like to propose a solution. On the one hand, I understand that all the countries in the list are official states. For that reason, I think that Palestinian territories is not an option that is acceptable to all. The statehood of the state of Palestine is an issue for others. Since we all agree that this is, in this article, Levant is about a geographical area, perhaps we could agree to link to Palestine, which is also about the geographical area with no political associations. I don't see a problem with state of Palestine, considering the fact that it is not a full UN member state, but it is officially referred to as a state. Is it? I wonder what that even means. I know that they have some kind of UN recognition. I guess I should look at like what exactly the UN recognition looks like. Like how do they refer to it? But okay, regardless, sorry. We got way too.
By the Cohen DNA, you know what a Cohen is, of course, right? Cohen, Poland, in Zimbabwe, and Yemen all descend from one male ancestor because it's not.
What does it mean to be an American to you? If you moved to the US like 5 years ago and like living here, can you be considered an American? I'm just saying that in America, I think because a lot of us in the world right now are like looking for purpose and meaning, one of the ways we do it in America is we try to go back to our ancestry. And sometimes Americans end up over-identifying with ancestors that they don't really know anything about. And they just end up saying like cringe shit. Like, I am Irish. And it's like, have you ever been to Ireland? No, but my great, whatever. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, you're more American than anything else, but yeah.
Poland, in Zimbabwe, and Yemen all descend from one male ancestor because it's not an ideology that crossed over borders. It's an ancient civilization that was smashed and forced out. And you said that Judaism is a religion. If you don't believe in Hashem and the Torah, you're still a Jew, correct? Right? If you don't believe in Jesus, you're not a Christian. If you don't believe in Muhammad, you're not a Muslim, because a religion is just a belief system in one thing that anyone can become if they accept it.
Broadly speaking, can anyone become an American? Broadly speaking, yeah. Are you interested in debating right-wing Zionists? There are so many tons of... not right now, Blue John, but I love you, buddy.
And Judaism is a portable suitcase of an ancient civilization.
You should look into the academic distinction between state and nation. It might help in these situations. Yeah, maybe, but nobody uses like the academic definitions. A lot of these are used like interchangeably, like state and nation, and yeah, I don't think it's worth. I mean, like I'm sure I'll learn. We'll probably pick it up in the World War I study because I think it becomes more important then because now everybody wants to be like a state and a nation and everything, right? So, but historically, it might not have been the same.
Anyone can become if they.
At what point does someone become American? Would it be the point of receiving a citizenship? I mean, that's when you're an American citizen, sure.
Accept it. And Judaism is a portable suitcase of an ancient civilization.
So, just because we all came from Africa doesn't mean that we all have
The academic distinction between nation and state is very important for the Palestine argument, though. No, it's not.
So, just because...
Why do people care so much about ancestry? These people act like they have some causal role in their birth. If I had to guess, it's because people want something bigger than themselves to live for. I think that's a pretty human thing. We want something more than just ourselves to live for. So religion gives you purpose, patriotism gives you purpose, and sometimes ancestry can give you purpose. Personally, I think it's cringe, but I think I'm in the very, very small minority there. I think most people like to have some connection or attachment to their past or some bullshit. Okay, let me watch this a little bit.
Judaism is a portable suitcase of an ancient civilization.
So, just because we all came from Africa doesn't mean that we all have right to claim over the land of Africa.
Right, but that argument you wouldn't give to Maori in New Zealand or in Aboriginal Australia, saying that because we descend from Africa or back here in the ocean, you wouldn't discredit people's connection to a land.
But we moved. We
were kicked out.
thousands of years ago.
We were kicked out, and there was always a people there, and they should have a right.
Palestinian Jews.
Is Wikipedia reliable, or would AI like ChatGPT or Gemini be better? I think anything can give you a decent outline. I like Wikipedia because it covers a broad range of topics, and because the edit history is public. I think Wikipedia is good for like a public or for like a skeleton of an issue. But then you read more articles, you dig more into it. Yeah. Hey, but if you're looking for an intelligent/honest dude on the right to collab with that doesn't suffer audience capture, one of your most prominent Discordians, Lactoid, would be a prime choice. Wow.
What does that even mean?
A Palestinian Jew is a Jewish person that
Who identifies as a Palestinian Jew? Not one person.
thousands and thousands of Palestinians that practice Judaism.
Which one? That doesn't exist.
Do Christians and Muslims have claim to that land as well?
Do you think the protests will have any negative impact on Biden's re-election campaign? If so, how much? Americans just don't care about foreign policy that much, and the people care the most about it right now are young people that don't vote. So I don't really think so. Okay, stop donating. I can't. Why World War I over World War II? I want to do World War II, but I feel like to understand World War II, I probably need to understand World War I, right?
That doesn't exist.
Do Christians and Muslims have claim to that land as well?
No, because it's a collective that has a right to land, not a religion. And I'm making the argument that Judaism is not a religion. Right?
Then what is it?
It's an identity of an ancient civilization. A religion, in any religion.
This is kind of true. I wish the Jews had a different name for their ethnic group and their religion. It's so cringe because it makes things so confusing and stupid. But to be fair, a lot of countries do too. I think there needs to be different names for ethnicities, religions, and people. Okay, all of these need to be different because otherwise it just makes shit confusing, right? I think I hate Chinese people. That could be like a fair statement. If you like hate people from maybe the country of China for some reason, and that includes all people, but if you like hate people of the Chinese ethnic background, well, now it's like a lot less defensible, right? It's weird that it's so weird that some ethnic groups have the same name as their country, so you can't differentiate between like the ethnicity or the nationality, and then it makes everything weird and stupid. I don't know.
It's defined as a belief system in a God, deity, book, or a prophet. So if a Christian doesn't believe in Jesus, they're no longer a Christian. Muslim rejects the Quran, they're no longer a Muslim. A Buddhist doesn't identify with the philosophy of Buddha, they're not a Buddhist. So it's an ideology that crosses over borders. You can have an Argentinian Christian, Nigerian Christian, Chinese Christian. They're not the same peoples. They just believe in the same belief system.
So I'm
right?
an American Jew.
Right, but you're a Jew because you descend from an ancient line of a civilization.
I am a Jew because I believe in Adonai as God.
Do you believe in God?
Of course.
And would
I
you
believe in Adonai as God.
Right, but if a Jew doesn't believe in Hashem or in Adonai, would they still be a Jew?
Ethnically?
Right.
Yeah.
Does this guy look like Liam Al Gaib? What am I thinking of? Does he a little bit?
So it's more than
But
a religion,
ethnically,
right?
I am.
Interesting. Wait, what are we looking at? Came to the U.S. when I was around 12 and about 2001. I've noticed a shift in identifying with state/region to ancestry since then. Oh, yeah. I think that like loss of religion and shit has probably led to that. Yeah, but Moji already made that joke. Fuck you.
am Polish.
No, ethnically you're not. Actually, while we were living displaced in Poland, you were always treated as someone that's not white and constantly killed. But what we see right now is a lot of people using Palestinian struggles, which I care deeply about, and using that to use it as ammunition against Israel. And saying the first thing you told to me is that Jews don't come from that land.
Who is making the Palestinian struggle?
You can say Palestinians are making the Israeli struggle as well. I have people that I know that died from Palestinian hands. I'm not going to blame all Palestinians for
There's
that.
not an Israeli genocide going on, though. Systematic eradication of an entire people.
So how come the population has grown more than 8x?
Terrorist attack?
Eradication was spelled wrong there.
One terrorist attack is not an attempt at a genocide.
Right, so we have to look at the
An attempt
intention.
Round up all Palestinians
I'm not
into
raising that voice
Rafah.
with you, by the way.
I'm sorry.
For sure.
An attempt to round up all Palestinians into Rafah. Say that it
Ooh, that was a good one. I'm not raising my voice, by the way.
is a safe zone and then invade Rafah is an attempt at a genocide.
Do you think that they want to invade Rafah just because there's Palestinians and they want to hurt them, or because there's still Hamas there and might be still hostages there? Do you think if Hamas gave back the hostages and put their weapons back that they would want to kill Palestinians? The genocide has to do with the intention.
That's
For me,
why
one
I'm
Palestinian
saying
dead is one-
that this is my point. Where it's like, well, why did I think I said this on Breaking Points tonight? Like, okay, why doesn't Hamas just give back the hostages? And then boom, now Israel can't go to war anymore. It would completely like imagine if Hamas gave back the hostages 2 months ago and Israel's like, we're still going to war for everything. Like, bro, they gave the hostages back. They're like, they might still be able to do the war, but the international support would be it'd be a lot shakier, I think. There's still a decent argument for it, but oof, that would get really spooky.
One Palestinian dead too much. I don't want any Palestinians to die. So we're already on the same page. You don't have to be arguing me against the lives of Palestinians. But we have to look at the intentions. Why is there the idea of wanting to go into Rafah? Because they believe they need to take out Hamas, which is legitimate after what Hamas has done. And they want to rescue their hostages, which is also legitimate. That's the intention. Now, the fact that we're in war, there's going to be deaths on both sides, which is why I do everything to prevent us being in war, because that's what war looks like. But the intention is what makes it a genocide. Every single time Palestinians have died has always been in the battle fire when Israel's shooting back at Hamas. Never Israel targeting Palestinians to kill Palestinians. And if that does exist, I condemn it. But that's not the situation.
Don't platform, don't.
We're not platforming. We're having a legitimate conversation. Okay.
This guy doesn't know much. This guy obviously came prepared with talking points. Well, this guy's talking though. It's funny that another person showed up like, don't talk to him. Oh shit, I want to choose the same person for my fucking crowd. Do they say which school they're at here? I doubt it's the same girl, but it's just funny that you still run into that.
Okay, so you're insulting. We're not here for that. Okay, no, but you're here to have conversations about how to move forward in the future. It's not a circle because first of all, he's a brother of mine as a Jew, and he has a right to speak to another Jew. And these conversations are the only way that we can actually move forward because there's no future without Jews or Palestinians in that land. So instead of speaking to all the other Westerners, which won't do anything in the land, it's the people who actually live there who can make a difference. I live in Israel. I live in Jerusalem. So I actually have the ability to influence people on that land, so you guys should be wanting to have conversations instead of speaking to everyone else and demonizing my people.
There is no future for Palestinians as long as there is a Jewish-Israeli state.
He said DC at the start of the video. Gotcha.
Instead of speaking to everyone else and demonizing my people.
There is no future for Palestinians as long as there is a Jewish-Israeli state
Do you think
that occupies that land.
Do you think there could be a way that we both experience this country as ours, Israelis and Palestinians, without the removal of either and with the acceptance of both? That could potentially exist, right?
And Israelistine is necessitates
A way that I call it Israel and they call it Palestine, like Burma and Myanmar, right? There's two names for a country that happens sometimes in history. And I should be able to see a Palestinian considering it Palestine and not feeling it takes away from me, and a Palestinian seeing me considering it Israel, which historically was always called Israel, and not feeling that that takes away from them. We're currently positioned as if we're opposed to one another, but we don't have to be.
Palestine population. Was it 4 million people? 5 million? How many people live? 5 million people live between the Gaza Strip and the West Bank. And Israel is how many people? 9 million? 10 million? 9.5 million. Damn. So it would be, oof. So if Palestine was annexed and made one state with Israel, with absolutely no people coming in, like no refugees, it would be about 7 million Arabs and 7 million Jews, huh? It'd be like 50-50 split. You're almost at your original partition plan. Jesus.
Is my point.
right. All we're saying is that the current Israeli regime has been an apartheid regime for its entire existence.
So can you explain to me how it's an apartheid? Because I just want to...
Because there are two systems.
Okay.
One for Israelis who benefit from all of the economic benefits, they get to participate in democracy, they get to vote, they get to live in land.
Do you think these people know they're on camera? The faraway cam is a bit sissy? Sissy or sussy? They must know they're on camera. That'd be my guess as he asks them. Although I don't know if you've got an expectation of privacy in a one-on-one conversation in a public area. I don't know. You're forgetting the refugees? No, I said if nobody came back, if nobody's coming back.
And unoccupied. It is, by definition, an apartheid regime.
Apartheid system is a system where you have one government, one country with different rights for different peoples. That's what existed in South
No,
Africa.
Destiny, there's also Arabs in Israel proper. That's why I said 7 million of each. There's about 2 million Palestinian, or there's about 2 million Arab Israeli citizens. Fuck! How many Arabs live in Israel? I believe it's about 2 million. 2,080,000, yes. There's probably no reasonable expectation of privacy here, public place. Well, there is, because we tried to look this up and it was really weird. I think there is a reasonable expectation of privacy for like very private things. Like if a girl is sitting on a bench and you're like zooming in with like a telescopic lens to take like an upskirt photo, I think that's considered a violation of privacy, even if you're in a public place. Or if two people are chatting and you're using like a long distance microphone to listen in a park, I think that's considered violation. I thought we looked this up. This is really confusing. We looked it up before. Yeah.
Africa because of their color of their
exists
skin.
in Israel.
In Israel, all Israelis, including 20% of its Arab/Palestinian population, have full equal rights. And then in the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, it's a separate piece of land under separate autonomy of the Palestinian Authority. And obviously, those who are living there don't have rights into Israel, and those who are living in Israel don't have rights into there. Gaza is a separate territory under separate authority, which is Hamas. And obviously, people that are living in Gaza don't have rights.
What are the genuine arguments against a one-state solution? I think I remember Benny Morris talking about the cultures, values, and history are two different. The scariest thing for the one-state solution is Jewish people feel like if they give all the voting rights to a whole bunch of Arabs and the Arabs outnumber them in Israel, that Arabs would probably begin to vote for or reform the government in a way that discriminates against Jewish people. And since Jewish people would become the demographic minority, they would have no way democratically to fight against that slow takeover of instantiating basically like Arab interest against Jewish people. That would be the... yeah.
Rights into Israel, and people in Israel don't have rights into Gaza. For me, I would like to see this one land being united for all. So it doesn't mean it's currently just the system that we have, but it's actually the opposite of an apartheid, because an apartheid would say it's one land and different rights for different peoples. Right now, we're talking about 3 separate territories with different jurisdictions with different populations. I can't go into Area A of the Palestinian Authority. I can't go into Gaza. So you're saying it's apartheid against me just because they can't go over here? Now, I think we should all be able to access the entire land.
The West Bank should be sovereign and all of the settlements in the West Bank should be rescinded.
What I'm saying is that from the river to the sea, Jews and Palestinians should be...
You agree that it is not an apartheid? If Israel controls all of Gaza and is given equal rights, how is it not apartheid? So apartheid, classically, I don't know. Today, maybe everything is apartheid. It seems like today what people want to argue is that basically every form of discrimination is apartheid, which I think is stupid. But in the original application of apartheid, when you look at South Africa, and I think in the understanding of apartheid, I think when you look at the International Convention of Apartheid, apartheid involves racial domination. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for racial domination of a group over other people. Racial domination, in my opinion, is really hard to find in Israel-Palestine when the domination is strictly along citizen lines. Now, there's a lot of overlap in that, well, Palestinian Arabs are the ones that aren't given citizenship. But when you look in Israel, like Arabs have equal rights to Jewish people. Your Druze, your Bedouins all have equal rights. They can be in the Knesset. They have like all the same rights and privileges. So it's like hard to say, well, is this a form of like racial domination? Or is this a form of like territorial occupation? And that's like the source of the conflict. Remember, all the bad things about apartheid can still kind of exist between Israel and Palestine, but I don't think the motivating factor is whatever racial domination, so I wouldn't call it apartheid. But
on this land. And me living in Judea and Samaria, the West Bank, shouldn't be a problem the same way a Palestinian that is living here and wants to come back should be able to live wherever they want. So the idea of Jews being able to live in the West Bank is not a settlement, right? It's a Jew living there. If we're making the argument that we want Palestinians to live from the river to the sea, we should be making the same argument with the same energy that a Jew should be able to live from the river to the sea. And the fact that a Palestinian under the Palestinian Authority can't go into Israel, which for me is wrong, or a Palestinian living in Gaza can't go into the rest of the land, which to me is wrong, it's just as wrong as I can't go into there. So there's a separation depending on the jurisdiction you fall under different territory, different government, not one land, one government with different rights for different peoples. So it doesn't mean that what you're criticizing is just.
Do you think current Israeli Arabs would vote with the other Arabs if one state was established to dominate the Jews, or would they behave differently? I honestly have no idea. That would be that. I hope when I go there, though, that would be an interesting line of question: is who would you identify with? I'm not sure. Sometimes there are things that seem very obvious to us as Americans, but when you actually go and talk to the people, or when you study the culture more, the obvious answers are not obvious at all. So, like me living in America, if you're a Cuban and you find like another Cuban that came from Cuba, at least like 20 years ago, like you'd be like, oh my God, that's so awesome. Like you fucking got out, bro. Like, oh shit, Cuban dude, and you're Cuban and we're all like, we hate Castro and all blah, 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 blah. It's like a cool thing, I guess, or whatever. Or people like Cubans jerk themselves off or dumb shit like that, right? So like I would apply this logic to like South Korea. And my assumption would be that like if I was in South Korea and I was Korean and like somebody made it from North Korea to South Korea, I'd be like, oh shit, what up? You got out. That's fucking awesome. Oh my God, welcome to South Korea. You made it to the real Korea, brother. But apparently that's not true at all. Apparently South Koreans don't really like North Koreans. And if you make it in, you have like a different accent. People discriminate against you. People treat you kind of weird. That's really weird. I would never understand that. I would never be able to intuitively understand that that connection. Or like when I've been to like South Korea, when I've been to like Taiwan, and when I talk to people over there, like my assumption would be like I know a little bit about like World War II history. You guys must all like fucking hate Japan, right? Because they like tried to kill you guys, and there was all the genociding and all the crazy shit, right? But then when I find out in talking to Asian people, or like for time I've spent at least really in Taiwan, so I don't know, maybe it's an unfair stereotype or generalization. Everybody said they love Japanese people because they're generally pretty chill, but they hate South Koreans because they feel like all the South Korean people were stuck up as fuck. They're very stuck up people. I don't know. Maybe that was just like the handful of people that I talked to felt that way, but I would have never guessed that if I would have just like intuitively figure out like, oh, well, how do these people feel about each other? So when you ask me about like Arabs and Israelis and how they would vote if like the societies combine, I truly have no fucking idea. I have absolutely no idea. Yeah. Do you think these protesting college students actually have feelings about the conflict, or they just want to be mad about something and virtue signal? It's going to be a little bit of both. I mean, they have probably strong feelings. Just because you don't know something doesn't mean you can't have strong feelings about it. You can develop very strong feelings about things you don't know much about. Also, I need to stop doing this, but I do sometimes. Virtue signaling isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, you want people to understand what your values and beliefs are. Like, technically, when I do certain debates or I make certain calls, I'm virtue signaling. I'm trying to make sure you understand what I think, I guess. But virtue signaling usually implies a hollowness to it. But you can even have strong feelings about something you don't understand much about. They're just like, you could call it misguided, but that's getting a little bit, like, pedantic. Well, not really. It's an important distinction. But
unjust, and we need to talk about it. But when we use terms like apartheid, it's actually preventing us from understanding the complexities of what's going on and preventing us from correcting it. And that's my point. And also, when you speak to most Jews, I'm sure as a Jew, you've spoken to many Jews, the moment they hear apartheid, they shut off to you. Whereas if you were specific about Palestinians go through checkpoints, they don't have equal access to resources, they have to have an IDF soldier that controls them, that they feel fearful of because they have no representation towards that soldier. If you were specific about the problems that Palestinians actually go through, then Jews and Israelis would be like, wow, yeah, I can see how that affects people, I can see how that's wrong. But the moment you use apartheid, genocide, ethnic cleansing, colonization, settlements, which in reality is what the West did to the world. And what we see right now is the far left feels so guilty for the crimes of their ancestors that they're using Jews and Israel as a scapegoat to push those ideas like they've always done throughout history. The far right blames the Jews for being the left. The far left blames the Jews for being the right. The capitalist blames us for communism. The communist blames us for capitalism. The white supremacists were enemy number one. The black supremacists, the Farrakhan's, were enemy number one. We're literally saying.
Okay, this is the point. It's just arguing with this one kid the whole time because this kid doesn't even know that much. This feels like a debate rape.
As the source of power for all.
Do you understand the meaning of a Jewish country destiny? It's a bit not like America. I don't know what you mean by that. What is the meaning of a Jewish country for the nation of Israel? My understanding is that the meaning of the Jewish country is that basically no matter what happens or no matter how the country is shaped or changed, that like Israel should always be like a safe place for people of Jewish ethnic descent, essentially. That characteristic or that idea should always be guarded. Yeah, that's my understanding of it.
To point out the fact.
Isn't Israel like 20% Arab, almost like the Islamic religious movement is incompatible with the democracy of Israel? I don't even understand what you're just trying to say there. Having Israel being 20% Arab is pretty amazing. And saying that that means that the Islamic religious movement is incompatible with the democracy, I don't know what you mean by that. It seems like they live there and they function there like decently well. Like, yes, but holidays, Shabbat, wedding, we have some Jewish laws here. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that, but I mean, like, other countries do that in ways. Bro, something that blew my fucking mind. Holy shit. I don't know if this is still true, or maybe this is just in the areas I was. Bro, you want to talk about like obsession with religion? In Germany, I feel like everything closed on Sunday. I was mind fucked. Walking around at like 6 p.m. on a Sunday, like, let's get some food. And every German friend looks at me like, bro, it's Sunday. This is the day of the Lord. We can't do shit here. This place is fucked. I'm like, what? I thought you guys were secular gods. Didn't Hitler kill all the religious shit? Fuck that shit. Oh my God. So like, and I'm sure there are other countries that do shit like that too, that have like strong, yeah, that was wild to me. My God. It's a worker protection thing? Oh, okay, maybe, yeah. It's everywhere in the EU like that? Gotcha. And then the alcohol stores in fucking Sweden. If you want to buy liquor, you got to go to the special stores. Although I guess it's like that in some Canadian provinces. In BC, I think it's like that. You have to go to the store. You feel like a fucking prisoner. Like checking into some high maximum security industry, your fucking facility. You're like, Jesus, fuck that cringe shit. I'm gonna go back to California where I can buy liquor in fucking gas stations. Are you actually from the Midwest or just playing? What do you mean? Why would you doubt me there? Why would I claim that? I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, motherfucker. From the 68134. I don't know where that is. I lived up 102nd and Blondo. I grew up there. Sweden is the worst of the Scandinavian countries. Is it? I didn't like the Netherlands. I feel like Amsterdam is fucking boring. Although, what was his face? Rose Risk came in here to shit on Denmark. I thought Copenhagen was a really cute city. I really like that place. There's a lot of bikers. It's big and beautiful. They've got their little no-law zone. What's it called? Fuck. What's the name of that cringe place? Christiania or whatever. Yeah, they got or Christiana. Yeah, they got other cute shit. I don't know. I thought Copenhagen was cute. I grew up on 114th and Center. My dude. I think that's around where my second house was. 100 and I'm trying to think. God, it's been so long. You drive west up 114th. I used to head in that direction all the time because there's like restaurants and shit. My first speech therapist, I think, was off like 112th and Center, I think. That's about where the interstate gets off, I think, on I-80 or 680, I guess, depending, because you're technically going whatever. It's cringe as fucked up a zone like that in the middle of the fucking capital. Give me that real estate. Well, stay mad. I'd love to know more about what happened yesterday with Jews in New York selling Palestine land. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know anything about that. Copenhagen has a bizarre layout and its cycling infrastructure, though proclaimed to be great, was embarrassing compared to any Dutch city. Was it? I feel like when I was in Copenhagen, there'd be like a stoplight and there'd be like 500 bikers there. I feel like there are so many people biking. It blew my mind. Am I crazy? Show me a video. Look at all these motherfuckers.
Copenhagen is a city known over.
Is it Copenhagen? I thought it was Hagen. There's more than this, okay? They're not showing you how many there actually are. There's a... Oh, see, this was 5 years ago. I was there like 2 years ago, okay? There's way more bikers than this. They're everywhere. Oh, look, you can kind of see them here. Look at them all. Look at all these guys biking. Did you not notice all the bikers in Amsterdam? There were a few, but Amsterdam's just boring, okay? Amsterdam was like some dude designed a city, and there was like water, and then there was like apartments, and then they put like a bridge here. And he designed this, and he's like, I don't really want to like do any more. I don't really want to make anything else. So then he took this, and then he copied it, and then he like flipped it, and then he just like did this in like bigger circles for the entire city. And that's Amsterdam. And I'm like, okay, I get it. You get like lost. Don't ever get high and walk around Amsterdam because everything starts to look the same. You're like, what the fuck? Have I been on this cobblestone street with the fucking river here and the apartments here and the bridge there before? And it's like, oh yeah, that's the entire fucking city. Sorry, I'm just kidding. All right, ignore me.
That there's a known IOF terrorist soldier on our campus.
IOF. I'm going to be honest. I thought IOF was Israeli offensive force for like 6 months. And I learned like 2 weeks ago that it's Israeli occupation force. Did Nebraska not have blue laws, or did Buffett and Mungar put those on ice? I don't know what the fuck blue laws are. What the fuck is that? Did you see that Herschel Weingrod, a Jewish Hollywood screenwriter, was caught molesting a 15-year-old on stream? He's worth $120 million. Deleted comment. Ooh, Puggy Gups banned him. Puggy Gups defending the Jews. Why? Thoughts on Toronto? Would you ever live there? I think if you lived in America, I think you can live anywhere in Canada. It's basically all the same shit. Blue laws are like laws regulating a bunch of moral conduct, like swearing and alcohol and shit. Oh, no. What? Can you do that?
Right now. I don't think liberation looks like a f***ing IOF soldier on our campus. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
I didn't get this much fanfare when I was down there. What the fuck? How much blame do you attribute the failure of peace in the region to the Netanyahu regime and the Likud party, given they've never detailed any requirements for the end of occupation, but just annex territory and install settlements? Well, so like when you say this, okay, the Likud doesn't want peace, okay? The Likud party is a decently far-right party that in their original founding statements would never want to recognize a Palestinian state. They don't want to. They just want it to be Israel, and they want Israel to get bigger. But like the problem is that like there's a reason why, right? Netanyahu was a prime minister from 96 to 99. Okay, that's our Likud party. All right, but prior to this, like here's what's happening, right? So you've got Rabin. Okay, we've got our Labor Party guy. You've got Rabin, who helped to negotiate the Oslo Accords and then got assassinated by a far right ultra Zionist. Then you've got Perez, that's labor for a bit. Then you've got Netanyahu from 96 to 99. Now, this was during the period of the Oslo Accords. You've got terrorist attacks on the left. You've got Benjamin Netanyahu not really upholding the Israeli side and spirit on the right. You go back and forth. And then Israeli society at this point is kind of getting pushed a little bit to the right, right? We came off of Rabin negotiating the Oslo Accords, then getting assassinated. Now we've got Netanyahu, it's kind of the right. Then you get one more shot with Ehud Barak, okay? You get one more shot. We're going to give the left-leaning dudes a chance. We'll see what happens. And then we try it, but Camp David, nothing comes of it. Nothing comes of this. There is no negotiation. And then the second Intifada starts, which is a massively violent event where terrorist attacks and violence erupts all over Israel. And then after the second Intifada, you're fucked in terms of Israeli politics. You've got Sharon, who comes in here, who's a decently right-leaning politician. You've got more Sharon. Did he really make it to 2009? When did he die? He had like a stroke. And then you've got Netanyahu that's been here since, right? But this like second Intifada moment, this pushed people so far to the right in Israel. And then past this, you've got your, you pulled out, I don't have this on the timeline yet, but like Israel leaves, Israel left southern Lebanon. Oh, fuck, I don't have the date for this at all in my head. When Israel left southern Lebanon, Hezbollah shows up. Israel leaves the Gaza Strip. And then you've got, in like 2005, and then Hamas takes over completely. Then you've got like your big war in 2008, your big war in 2014. Like Netanyahu and the people on the right, the Likud party, they don't want any type of like Palestinian solution, but it's because the Israeli population has been pushed so far with all of these violent actions. And you can argue that the Palestinians got pushed as well for, for other things too, but yeah. So yeah, when you say that, like, can't we admit that Netanyahu is like bad for peace in the region? Yeah, sure, but you have to understand there's reasons why he got elected and the violence that preceded that, Olmert was 2006, 2009. Yeah, I'm wondering why I have Sharon here. I thought Sharon died in like 2005, 2006? I must have written the wrong person here. Because it was Olmert was in 2008 was who Abbas had that negotiation with, right? was Olmert? Wait, let me check real quick. When did Ariel Sharon die? He was hospitalized for like 9 years? Oh, okay. Oh, because he died in 2014. Okay. When did he have his stroke and basically become like incapacitated? He was in office until 2006. I thought it was the stroke that took him out of office. Am I wrong on that? Let me check. Following a stroke on January 4th, 2006, Sharon remained in a permanent vegetative state. Rip. Did you see anything about the CAS report? No, I didn't. I don't care enough about. I just don't care enough about trans shit. That's like hundreds of pages of shit. Okay, April 14th is when he actually won the election. Okay, I must have just copied the last box and I didn't add it here. Weird. Thanks. Thoughts on the description Robin Hood complex for always viewing interactions through the scope of power differentials and compulsively siding with the perceived less powerful side? It's bad to do that. I like that, though. That's going in the debate pervert tree. Okay. Few things does it seem that the majority of Palestinian protesters are women. What makes IVP instill such passion in activists? It seems unique in that regard. Does it seem like the left is using IVP to try flirt racism? What? I don't even know if the majority are women. They might be, but also keep in mind these are happening on college campuses where it might even be that these are college campuses. I'm sorry, geez. Because these are college campuses, there's going to be a lot of women there already, right? So, I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? 60-40 now, I think, on college campuses, isn't it? Or that was graduation rate, so it might even be higher. So think about who you're selecting, right? If you were to go out onto a college campus, you've already got 60-40 women, men. Now think about who's protesting. Do you think it's engineering majors and pure math majors and law students? Or do you think it's like people that are working in like more social science departments? So you've already got 60-40 women. Then you're probably pre-selecting for departments that are way more likely to be women. So it's like, yeah, your protest at student things. Damn, this would be a good place to go on. Just kidding. It's probably always going to skew heavily female. That'd be my guess. Destiny, this will sound like I'm blowing you. But how are you so good at comprehending / connecting everything in your head? Is it just natural? Do you read something and just try to make a connection to something else you know deliberately? Like, why is it that scholars can read 10 books and comprehend so little? This is like a double-edged sword for me, okay? Remember, so for me, if I understand something, it's because I have like a conceptual mapping for it in my head. So if I have a conceptual mapping for something, I can usually like figure out stuff and attach stuff to it really well. However, if I don't have that conceptual mapping, I probably won't remember like anything of it. That's why I don't know or I didn't know until I started doing it. I didn't know like the 50 states. I didn't know the European countries, or I would mix up like France and Spain all the time, or I wouldn't know because I just don't have like a conceptual mapping for it. I don't do rote memorization very well, but if I have a conceptual mapping for it, I can like stick stuff in very easily because it kind of makes sense. That's why I like looking at the timeline here, and I saw Sharon from 2006 to 2009 didn't make sense to me because I know that he had a stroke and died earlier. And I also know there's like a peace process here that almost happened. It was in 2008 between Olmert and Abbas, but that's because it conceptually maps onto like the progress of the conflict and everything else too. So, have you looked into the Bennett cabinets that replaced Netanyahu in 2022? They were a wacky coalition. No, I don't. You apparently have the wrong party for. I don't know why this could even. I haven't done much on the top section here yet. Like I literally timelined this, but I don't have any bios or anything written for any of these people. So the top part here is like pretty loose. Like nothing. Like they link to names and shit, but I literally just copied from Wiki the dates they were prime minister and then the name of the person and then whatever. So for like later presidents, not presidents. I'm sorry. For later prime ministers here, I don't have much of an idea. I don't know much personally about them. Historically, I'll know more. So like Begin, right, came from Poland, or it might have been. This guy's background is crazy. He like fought Russians, and then he went to Poland and fought Nazis, and then he went to the Middle East and fought the British, and then he fought the Jews, and then he ultimately was the guy that signs peace with Egypt. This guy's background is wild. Rabin, I believe, was an early commander for, was it commander or minister of defense in which war? Fuck. All of these guys have like big, extensive military backgrounds. Moshe Dayan is back here a lot too, but he was never prime minister, just minister of defense. And is it the cabinet secretary leader? The guy that's the head of the cabinet is right below minister of defense. Golda Meir, born in, I think she might not have been born in Palestine, but she definitely like raised a lot of money early on for shit. This is our prime minister for Yom Kippur. Conversations between her and Dayan are interesting. Yeah, I know more about these older guys. I don't know much about Netanyahu. I don't know much about Eshkol. I know he was an early military guy. He was a 6-day war prime minister too, but I don't know much about. I think for Eshkol, I think he might have just been along for the ride for the 6-day war. I think people like Dayan, I think, were more in control of like military operations. I think that's like my vague recollection, but I don't remember as much. Rabin was a general during the 6-day war. Okay, that might have been, yeah. Ehud Barak was the most decorated Israeli soldier. Interesting. All right. That's cool. Okay. The Likud did pull out of Gaza under Sharon. True. Although that was a strategic decision. It wasn't really like a making peace decision, so. Came in as a hater. You've completely won me over with your logic and facts and how committed you are to the truth through the fuzz of emotions. Thank you, Destiny. Yeah. Wait until you hear my food takes. Okay. Okay, sorry. Why are we watching this? Ugh. Have you seen the video of Chomsky and Dershowitz hashing it out at Harvard in the 2005 over the Israel? No, I've only watched one Dershowitz conversation ever, and I think it was the debate he had against Finkelstein, and I felt like Dershowitz did very poorly. I don't have a high opinion of this guy, but maybe he is, maybe he's smarter than I'm aware of or something. I don't know. Or maybe that was just a bad showing. I'm not sure. I have not heard you talk about this, but how do you think America should pressure the Israelis/Palestinians in taking steps towards a long-lasting peace solution? I mean, there just needs to be a lot of pressure to like actually reach a final state of affairs resolution. Like, there should be contingencies on Palestinian aid. Like if you guys aren't going to actually seriously start to negotiate, like we're going to start pulling out international aid and you're just going to collapse and die. For Israel, there should be heavy conditioning of aid. Like you need to figure out a solution to this. We'll help you. We'll provide money. But like if not, then like fuck you. Like this is just like a source of insecurity. So maybe it means like no longer funding Israel militarily. Other people in the region have to be brought in as well, obviously. But I don't even know what that looks like or how that would possibly work. Obviously, Iran doesn't want to let go of all of their proxy people. Yeah, I don't know. It's a complicated thing.
If you're a Palestinian, you're my cousin. You and
What was the reaction of the crowd, if you had to describe it in your own words?
So I'm not surprised at the reaction of the crowd because a lot of these protests are not coming from a place of light. They're coming from a place of rage, hatred, pain, which is not surprised at the reaction of the crowd because a lot of these protests are not coming from a place of light. They're coming from a place of rage, hatred, pain, which is legitimate, right? There's a lot of people that are suffering, and I also understand why many Israelis turn against Palestinians because many of their family members were killed as well. So we're actually in a loop of constant violence and pain that just projects more and more violence. And so I came there, I was engaging with a few people respectfully, letting them know that a lot of the things that they would think I don't agree with, I actually agree with.
Then what happened?
They recognize me because I have a large social media platform. They know that I'm Israeli, and because I'm Israeli, automatically.
That's cute. Even though I'm pro going into Rafah, shouldn't Biden respond with something since he said that was a red line? Did Biden say it was a red line going into Rafah? I don't feel like I ever remember hearing that.
That triggered emotions within them, and they started to see me as the person that's the source of all the pain that they're experiencing, and thus the crowd turned on me, put all their focus on me, started accusing me of all sorts of horrible slander and things that I'm not responsible for. So this didn't intimidate me. I looked at them right in the face, stood there for 20 minutes. I understand where they're coming from. I'm not looking at them as my enemies or with disgust or with hatred, but I feel bad that they're in this situation, and I hope that enough of us in this generation can put in the work to make sure that we don't continue in this way. And there were two Palestinians, they were older and more mature, who came up to me and said, I would genuinely like to have a conversation with you.
I'm gonna come with us, okay?
No problem. All right.
Come on.
Salam alaikum. If a lot of us engage more, we'd realize we agree on much more than we think.
Yes.
There is no future without Israelis or Palestinians in the land. And our future is going to be one that's together. I understand that for you, the right of return is important just as it is for me. And there's no way that
That's you in the video. I keep looking at chat while he's talking. What is me in the video?
live in this land without fulfilling both of our aspirations. So if these students actually understood what I represented, they'd realize that I agree with much more and fight more for achieving what they claim to be trying to achieve.
Like, okay, you said there is so many Israeli has been killed.
Are you against Israelis being killed?
Let me say, no, I'm not.
You're not against Israelis
No,
being
I'm
killed?
not. I tell you why.
Innocent civilians. Innocent civilians. Well, I'm against Palestinian civilians being killed.
Let's assume Israel is your land. If somebody came to Israel
I think it's our land.
and start fighting, you have no right.
I don't like this framing of the conflict. It's so simple too. I like when people use analogies, because I think Badar did it against me and I wanted to fight, but it's like, it's not really a matter of like, this is our house. It's more a matter of like, what happens if you live in a house and then your dad divorces your mom, and then dad marries another woman who brings in a stepdaughter, and then your dad dies. And now you and the stepdaughter are fighting over who owns. That's more akin to the situation than just like somebody invades your house out of nowhere, right? Like it's more complicated than just saying like, oh, somebody comes to your house and steals your shit. Do you have a right to defend yourself? Like,
Defend yourself?
I think it's our land. There's a difference between
That's what
someone
you
fighting.
Think. You think it's our land, so why are you coming here?
I'm not even, I think it's our land, meaning me and you. When I say
Okay.
our, I'm including you.
Okay,
this is the
well,
land that my
okay,
ancestors
so
come
we
from
have
and that
the
your
land
ancestors come
of
from as well.
family.
You might be used to speaking to people that are from Israel that are against that, and I'm not against that. So the final goal of what we both like to see, we probably agree. If more of us started to engage with one another, humanize one another, the same way I can condemn the murder of Palestinians if there's someone who's an innocent Palestinian and someone goes and murders that person, I publicly and openly am against that. And I'd hope that you'd be able to make a separate...
Ideology aside, the Jewish settlement in Gaza would be a major security pillar. That is true. It would. I mean, I agree with you. It would be good for Israeli security, but it would be horrible for international relations. It'd be horrible for Palestinian-Israeli relations, and it would be horrible for, I think, for the stability long term in terms of like reaching a permanent settlement on the differences between Palestinians and Israelis. It would just be, yeah. Do you think Netanyahu has a political future after this war is over? I actually don't know much about internal domestic. When I say domestic, I don't know much about like the internal political stuff in Israel. I don't know. I know people externally say, like, oh, nobody supports him. I don't actually know how true that is. I just don't. It also doesn't matter, I don't think, much. I don't know how much it matters how popular Netanyahu is, because like a lot of governments, the prime minister is coming from the coalition of parties and shit. So I don't know.
Separation. If Hamas goes into the homes of people and kills them and rapes them and does horrible things for which I know people have gone through that, you should no, I saw it with my own eyes. Listen, I'm not going to minimize your struggle. You shouldn't minimize mine. It actually happened on October 7th. I got out of the army 10 years ago. Right? I served in the army when I was 18 years old, as every Israeli, and I was called back for reserves out of nowhere, taken out of my life, taken out of the work that I do to actually unite Israelis and Palestinians. And on October 7th, I was in Kfar Aza, and I saw what Hamas did. I saw babies killed. I saw people raped. I saw people's bodies on the floor after they raped them and killed them and beheaded them. I saw these things that were happening to the Israeli people. So it's not a lie.
Show us so we could believe it.
There's plenty of footage. There's plenty of footage. Even Hamas released the footage about this stuff. There's a 43. There's a 4. Okay,
Show
look.
us. Okay, I'm gonna publish it for you.
I will. And understand that.
Because I know it doesn't
just,
exist.
just me showing you this doesn't mean that it is in competition with Palestinian suffering. Doesn't mean it's trying to minimize Palestinian suffering. In no way, when I'm telling you that I'm suffering, am I trying to shadow over the fact that you suffer.
Okay,
Right?
let's assume Hamas really done this.
Yes,
in October
they
7th.
really did, though.
Let's assume. I'm gonna just like give you the benefit of the doubt.
Would you be against it if they did, in your opinion?
No, I would not.
You wouldn't be against the rape of
because
innocent people.
My mom and dad has to.
Okay, Jesus, this is more extreme, I think, than most people would say. My God. Do you think the foundation of this whole disagreement is, did England have the right to give away the land to the Jews to create their own state? That could be a foundation, sure.
Leave Palestine.
Do you think it's going to help? Look at what it.
So you've been doing this to me for.
I have not done anything to you.
You've been doing this
I
to
was
me
born.
for
I was born in 1993. I have
Years.
nothing to do. You wouldn't say that every action of a Palestinian represents all Palestinians.
Abu Mazen
So
doesn't
why does Abu Mazen?
Okay, we're good.